This is a 2023 Polestar 2, and it is a fantastic Tesla rivaling sedan. Well, I guess it really isn't a sedan. Never mind. This is one of my favorite EVs on the market today, and today I'm going to review it. So for those of you that have never heard of the brand Polestar before, this might be the reason why. Polestar started out in 1996 as a Swedish touring car racing team that was later bought out in 2015 by Volvo, and then spun off into its own brand by its parent company Geely. This is Polestar's second model, as you probably should have figured out since it's called the Polestar 2. Wait, hold on. Actually, I'm wrong. So I literally just found this out, but if you look at the registration for this car, it says the make is Polestar, but the model name is Polestar 2. Who at Polestar decided to name this the Polestar 2? Can someone at Polestar please let me know why you named it that? Such a dumb name. Anyway, that's enough rambling on. Let's just get on to some pros and cons.
Pro! It has two motors, giving it a very brisk 0 to 60 time of 4.5 seconds. The motors are equal in power front and rear, 150 kilowatts or 204 horsepower per motor, giving it an equal 50-50 power distribution. The car we ended up getting is only the single motor, so it isn't as fast, but it's quick enough to get out of people's way. In fact, I think the extra 30 miles and the $3,500 that you save is actually kind of worth getting the single motor. Pro! Polestar 2 handles extremely well, especially with the performance package. In part to its nearly optimal 55-45 weight distribution. The only con about the driving experience is the steering. It's completely numb. There's no steering feel through the wheel, but other than that, it drives fantastic. Pro! It's built in China, but it's actually put together super well. Not all Chinese things are built terrible, you know. There's not a single squeak, rattle, creak, or scratch from the factory. It's got the Swedish Volvo build quality, even though it is built in China. Con, the center console cup holders are just stupid. So you have one in the center, but then if I open... Oh my god. Why is it in the center console? But wait, the armrest slides forward, doesn't it? Okay, no drinks for you. Thanks, Polestar. Pro-ish con. It has a large battery, which should mean it gets a large range. Well, sort of. The EPA estimated range of the Polestar 2 is 249 miles, with a dual motor, of course, which is okay, but for being a 78 kilowatt hour battery pack, you would think it would go further. For example, a Model 3 long range with a very similar battery pack size goes over 100 miles farther than the dual motor Polestar 2, so keep that in mind if you're going to purchase one of these. Pro! Pilot Assist works very well, which is what Volvo and Polestar call their autopilot. It only really works well on straight roads. We kind of tested it on the windy roads of downtown Dallas, and it was pretty nerve-wracking. It will steer around mild bends, but you have to put a lot of pressure on the wheel to let it know that you're there. And it'll run adaptive cruise control, which does work very well. Still, you have to get the $3,400 pilot package, so it's not standard equipment. And I honestly wouldn't use it that much, because the Polestar 2 is so great to drive on its own. Con, no adaptive cruise or lane centering on the base trim, which that's why the pilot pack exists. But even if you don't option the pilot pack, you still get the buttons to turn on adaptive cruise and lane centering that you don't have. So you just have 5 buttons on your steering wheel that don't do a single thing. Pro, just look at it. Looks like it should belong in a modern art museum. It's probably my favorite looking EV. Oh, just wait, just watch the taillights when I unlock it. Wow, that's neat. Again, probably my favorite looking EV, apart from the Porsche Taycan, but that's in its own price bracket, and it doesn't really compete with the Polestar 2, so it's definitely better than the Model 3, which looks like a homeless turtle. Pro, if you opt for the performance pack, you get these cool, sort of fat plus sign looking wheels. You get manual adjustable Öhlins dampers, more power, which is always nice. Brembo brakes, a performance app on the infotainment screen to measure 0 to 60 time and G-forces. And gold seatbelts, which is very interesting. Pro, keyless entry on all doors, and a kick sensor to open the trunk. That's handy, or I guess, footy. Makes it very easy to load heavy items into the trunk with no hands to open it. Pro, rear air vents, no sweating in the summertime back here. Another pro is that the AC blows really hard, which for a car designed in Sweden is kind of surprising. I guess Sweden doesn't get all that cold. Never mind. Con, the air vents above the screen are in a terrible spot. They do work, but they aim very upward. They don't deliver all that much air to you. Works probably better as a defroster, to be honest. Pro-ish con, the front trunk exists, which is nice, but it's not the largest, and you can't open it from the phone app or the key, nor can you open it from a popper on the outside like the Rivian R1T. So you have to go inside like you would pop it like a hood on a peasant gas car. What is this? A 1996 Honda Civic or something? Oh my god. Pro, Android Automotive OS. Super fast and easy to use. Has an app store with lots of apps to choose from. Sirius XM Radio, Google Maps, For built-in navigation, it has route planning, so you won't have range anxiety when road tripping. And it has Apple CarPlay, though weirdly, no Android Auto. On a car that runs on Android, you would think it would have Android Auto, but nope, no Android Auto. Seems kind of backwards, but oh well. Pro, map and the gauge cluster. Super useful as you can unfortunately only have one thing up on the main screen at once. So if the passenger wants to adjust the fan speed, they have to click off the map screen or whatever they're currently on, which is stupid, but they could fix that with a software update. Oh wait, yeah, that's a massive pro of the Polestar 2. They get software updates, so the car can actually get better over time rather than worse. They even added Apple CarPlay through a software update, which is pretty impressive. Con, the DC fast charge speed it's okay, but it's not the best. It peaks around 155 kilowatts, which sounds pretty good, and is in fact pretty good for a peak, but it doesn't hold it very long. It's not all about the peak number, it's all about the curve. If you look at how long Dallas to Tallahassee, Florida would take in a Polestar 2 versus Ioniq 5. Polestar 2 takes about, so you basically cut your time in half if going with the Ioniq 5. So there you go, charging speed really makes a difference when road tripping. Pro, it has regular mirror controls and a volume knob, which sounds pretty standard and in fact is, but if you've ever sat in a Tesla, especially the newer ones, you'll know why I'm mentioning this one. Pro, no button or key to start it. Just get in, put your foot on the brake and go. It's that easy. Pro, remember me saying earlier that this isn't a sedan? That's because it isn't. It's a hatchback, which is very useful because you can fit way more inside than an equivalent size sedan like the Model 3. Pro, heated front seats, but kind of a con attached to that is that if you want to get a heated steering wheel and rear heated seats, you have to get the $4,200 plus package. So, Pro, you can use your phone as a key. No more carrying a fob around. All you need is your phone, the Polestar app, and a Bluetooth connection. So you can use it to pre-cool the car before you get in. Using the app, you can schedule charging, view percentages, you see your remaining range, etc. Con, only 6 paint options. To be fair, they all look pretty nice, but there still is only 6. Con, in the front trunk you'll find a jack, then you'll probably look around the car to find a spare tire, and then realize that there isn't one. I don't know why the jack is in there. Pro, rear seat legroom is actually pretty decent. Considering how big the car is, it's pretty decent. Me at 5'11"-ish, I haven't actually measured in a while, I fit pretty comfortably in the back. Decent legroom, decent headroom, and a center armrest with cup holders. But a con with the rear seats is that ingress and egress is made fairly difficult because of the narrow opening at the bottom of the door. Pro, AC charging speed is actually pretty good, up to 11.2 kilowatts on a 48 amp charger, which should go from about empty to full in 7 to 8 hours. Not bad for level 2. Pro, you have so much data when charging, and this is something that all EVs need, but not all of them have. When DC charging, it shows your speed in kilowatts, the amperage, and the voltage, and on AC charging, it shows your voltage, your amperage, and if you're connected to dual or single phase, which is kind of pointless in the United States since J1772 Type 1 only supports single phase in the United States, but it's useful if you live in like a Type 2 market where this car is from, so... Con, the range estimates change based on where you look. If you look in the gauge cluster, the range that's given by the EPA, so for the single motor it's 270 miles, for the dual motor it's 249. If you open the range app in the center screen, that's based on your driving style, so your projected range. Here. These only go in increments of 10 miles until you drop below 100, then they go in increments of 5. But when you ask Google, how far can I go on this charge?
You can drive for about 198 miles with the remaining charge.
It gives you the exact number, which I didn't know. Pro, the ride height is higher than that of Tesla Model 3, which allows for easier entry and exit, while also not compromising too much on handling, which is very good, by the way. And improving ride quality. It soaks up big bumps quite well, but it does let smaller vibrations through, which is annoying. Con, if you don't have the Plus Pack, your seat bottom is power, so your lumbar is power, so you can move the lumbar up and down and in and out. But the backrest is manual, and the way you adjust that backrest is weird. It has this dial, which does allow you to get it very precise where you want it, but it's very difficult to move it. And also, there's no seat back pockets, which seems like extreme cost-cutting. Pro, the pedal tuning. Tuning of the pedals is very good. It's easy to accelerate smoothly and regen smoothly with this car. You can kind of feather it and get the exact amount of regen you want. At 100%, even if you don't have regen, it will blend the brakes into that to slow you down, so it feels the exact same. You don't feel a difference even if the regen is reduced, which is super convenient because you'll never like go to a stop sign and realize your regen isn't working, which is really nice. Pro, depending on who you ask, it's a pro or a con depending on who you ask. If you ask me, I'd say the cloth seats in the base model Polestar 2 is actually kind of better in Texas because it gets very hot here and you get pretty sweaty with leather seats if they're not ventilated. Con, there is a weird hump, or not hump in the floor. It's like the floor raises the more you move your feet back in the driver's side footwell. So if you move your legs back, they will hit the steering wheel if you're a taller person, which makes it kind of uncomfortable to road trip. Con, there is a transmission tunnel, but this means that the middle seat is basically useless if you have 3 people in the back, which I would not recommend in this car because it's not super big. But it does mean that the side seats have more vertical legroom, so your knees aren't like in your chest because the seat or the floor is raised up because of the batteries. Con, the sun visors don't slide, which means it barely blocks any sun if it's coming through the side window. But I guess it kind of makes sense that the Polestar 2 visors don't slide since it's basically a Volvo and Volvo visors don't slide. Pro, there is a ski pass-through. Good if you need to haul long items, like 2x4s, because that's obviously what everyone's going to buy this car is going to do. Pro, there is a pretty sizable, although pretty weirdly shaped, cubby underneath the trunk floor, useful for hiding valuables. And dead people. Oh shoot, I shouldn't put that. Pro, Volvos have always been known for their fantastic safety. And since this is out of technicality, a Volvo, it's pretty safe. Even on the seatbelt, I didn't get a good clip of this, but it shows 1968 or something on it, which is the year Volvo invented the seatbelt. And this is the final pro and con of the list. And it's a pretty big con, if you ask me. The price is quite high. $48,400 is the starting price, and that's before shipping and tax. Tech than a Model 3, slower charging, equal range, but less places to recoup the range. Slower car and worse self-driving technology, so it doesn't qualify for the tax credit, so it's a very niche vehicle, but I still really like it. So the Polestar 2 isn't for everyone, and that shows in its price.
Congrats, you survived the PC list. Now let's get into some quirks and features of the Polestar 2. In the front, you have your Polestar Pixel technology headlights, your Thor's Hammer LED running light, which doubles as your turn signal, projector-style headlights, fog lights down below, which are optional with the pilot package. In the rear, you have your LED light bar that goes around, makes that cool animation when you lock it. Have your turn signals in this little nugget here in the back, and your reverse lights are at the center. You also have fog lights in the bumper. Your tires are Continentals, Pro Contact efficiency tires. This one's not equipped with a pano roof, but you can get one as an option. People say the grille is fake, but actually there is a radiator behind this, so it's not actually a fake grille. Electric cars still need cooling. This Polestar badge is paint matched, which is kind of problematic because a lot of people don't know what this car is. A lot of people think it's a Volvo, other people have no idea what it is because they don't know what Volvos are, but the only place that actually says Polestar or 2 is right here on this little sticker that says the battery pack capacity and the motor output. This is your charge port. It'll accept 11.8 kilowatt or 11.2 kilowatts AC charging, basically empty to full in around 7 to 8 hours. Here's a DC plug. It'll accept a max of 155 kilowatts. Charging curve isn't the best though, but it works. This is a button to stop the charging. Pretty simple charge port. It's just a manual charge port. You do have regular door handles, which makes it really easy if you live in a cold place or where it gets cold, like Sweden, where this car is from and designed in. These will be much easier to yank on and get into your car than something like a Model 3 where you have to shove your thumb in and pull the thing out. These mirrors are really cool. The glass doesn't move, the whole thing moves, which is pretty interesting. Look at this cool animation when I lock the car. Look at the wipers. The fluid actually sprays out of the wipers, which is cool. It comes out from a nozzle mounted on the wipers. There's actually 2. There's one up high and one down low, which is interesting. I really like the interior design. This screen is great. It's running Google's Android Automotive, like I mentioned. Has lots of settings. I'll go into the screen in depth more in a separate video, but it works great. You have this clip at the base of the windshield to put like a parking ticket. In the glove box, you have a shelf to keep your owner's manual out of the way and a hook that you can flip out to hang your groceries on. In the glove box, you have a clip to store pens in here, which is useful, so you always have a pen with you. Plus pack models include a wireless charger. Everything in this car is vegan. Even like the upgraded leather seats, leather
is vegan. Everything else in here is vegan, so no animals were killed in the process of making this interior, which I don't care about, but a lot of people do. I do like the start chime on the Polestar 2. When you put it in drive, makes a nice sound. But the turn signal sound is strange. Just listen. That's interesting. It sounds like you're tapping like a pen on like tell me that this is not the same sound. Yeah, it's like the same thing. I just told you. What's nice is that you actually have automatic windows for every window in the vehicle. So even the back windows are automatic up and down. Interestingly, the child lock and the window lock are the same button, which usually they're separate buttons, but this is the same. So I guess that it kind of makes sense, but it's also weird. Your door locks are here. Very traditional, unlike Tesla, which is on the screen, as well as Rivian. This, nice and easy to get to. Lock, unlock. It'll turn off when it's unlocked, turn on when it's locked. You do have memory settings for the driver, even though driver profile saves it, and the backrest on the seat isn't power, so it doesn't even save the whole seat. It's just the bottom and the lumbar. On the dash, you have this blinking red light to show you that the alarm is active on your Polestar 2. One thing that's nice is that when you turn, it'll turn on the fog light that you're turning in the direction of. So if I'm turning left, it'll turn on the left fog light, and same for the right. So it has turning lights for you, so you can see in the direction you're turning towards. This light in the charge port is nice. So white means it's ready to plug in. Yellow means it's initiating. And green means it's charging. And when it's pulsating, it's charging. As it is a Volvo product, you have Volvo turn signal stocks, Volvo wiper stocks, Volvo steering wheel, Volvo shifter. Really, there's just a lot of Volvo parts in here, but that's not necessarily a bad thing, because Volvo actually makes really good cars, in my opinion. You do have a cubby on the side, on both sides of the center console to stick snacks inside of. Listen to the sound it makes when you lock the Polestar 2. Makes a funky little beep. Horn test. If you tap on the car menu and then click more, you can do car status, and it says, all is good, with an exclamation point, which is pretty funny. One quirk is that if you go to the car menu and click more, there's an option to power off the vehicle. So if you click that, then it'll say, power off. You are about to turn off the vehicle. Power on again, press the play pause button on the console. Click power off, turns off the center screen, but leaves this on, turns off HVAC, and it keeps all the other things running. But if you click this, then it'll come back on. These buttons down here are weird. They're not actual buttons. They are haptic underlined with force sensors and haptic feedback engines. So when you tap them, it just kind of sends a vibration to your finger to know you pressed it. And it kind of feels like a normal button, and it's not too bad, but it's not actually a normal button. I just discovered this, but when you have the hazards on and you're charging, there's no clicking sound or indicators flashing. Wait, is the outside lights even on? Hold on, that's still flashing. The outside lights flashing. Yes, they are. Are the mirrors flashing? Yes. So everything flashes, but there's no clicking sound, nor any indicators in the dash when you're charging and you have hazards on. So that's interesting. One nice thing about the Polestar 2 is that you can set up profiles, which save, I believe, your seat position, it saves your HVAC settings, it saves a lot of different things in the car. Your preferred driving setup for your regen and all your stats here. So if you like standard versus if your wife or husband prefers a different steering setting, it'll save that to your profile, which is very useful. So this is the key. You have lock, unlock, and your trunk popper, and then you have your panic button. Pretty simple key. They do sell a activity key, which you can get that is waterproof, so you can lock this in your car and then go swimming or something. But yeah, what's nice is that the car knows it's a school zone, and in the gauge it shows that it's a school zone, so it can read signs and stuff, and it shows you the speed limit and other things. So that's useful. One thing that's weird is that if you want to drive the car, but the door is open, it will just instantly put you back in park. You can't go anywhere with the door open. Here's your shifter, down for drive, up for reverse, and press the park button for park. And if you guys are curious, no, the car will not let you go into gear with the charge cable connected, because it's smarter than that. In case your car's battery doesn't need to get in, you can just pull the door handle, and there's a key hole right behind it. So you can just stick a key that comes out of the key fob into there and get into your car. A thing I think is kind of weird is that you can't use this button to pull the charger. You have to push this, which will unlock it. Then you can pull it out. Now, I don't know if it works for everyone or if you have to have the key fob nearby, but that's kind of interesting. It's the only EV that does it like that. Nice thing, at the top of the tailgate, you can tell it to close, but also lock the car once it's done closing. So once it closes, then it'll lock. It says 55%, 150 miles. So if I open the door, then it gives you this more enhanced view. I heard... Jesus frickin' Christ. A weird quirk is that down is the mist, and then like up is on, and it's kind of backwards from what I'm used to. If you're driving up to your garage and the parking sensors detect something, it should automatically bring up the 360-degree camera so you can see how close you are to something, even if you are in drive. One thing nice about the Polestar 2 is that the vents are normal. You could just move them, unlike Tesla and Rivian. You have a telescoping and tilting wheel. One thing that's annoying is that the rear window only rolls down to there. The Polestar 2 comes with 2 free years of 30-minute charging sessions at Electrify America, which is very useful. We went to Electrify America and we didn't even have to pay for it, so that's great. In the charge screen, you can also set your charge percentage. Polestar recommends 90% on a daily basis, but you can also set it to 100. One thing I do like is that the speakers are very integrated into the door, as so is the door pull, so it looks very nice in here. You got a speaker on the dash, speaker here, there, and all the doors, some in the back as well. It's probably an 8-speaker sound system, which sounds pretty good. I don't think I would need the upgraded Harbin Kardon in this car. I think the base audio system is plenty. You can use this lever to fold down the rear seats to give you more space. One thing I wish Polestar would update with the software is that you can... There's not much customization in this gauge. You either have no map, and the only other thing you can really do in here is not that... Open this little menu to see your trips and stuff, and adjust your cruise control speed and other things, but basically no configuration in the gauge cluster, and I kind of wish they would update it to have more. The car in the gauge screen actually reflects what's going on. So if you open the door, it shows the door open. If you pop the frunk, it shows the frunk open. If you pop the trunk, if I close this off, it shows the trunk is open, and you can close it by holding down this button. It's not just a single press, you have to hold it down. But yeah, this car shows everything that happens with your real life vehicle. Google Assistant works very well in this car. Set the temperature to 72 degrees. I'm hot.
Maybe you'd like to go swimming.
That's a weird answer. Navigate to Chick-fil-A. And it'll bring it up on the map. Where's the nearest charger? Brings up the nearest charging. How much range do I have left?
You can drive for about 198 miles with the remaining charge.
That's interesting. That one is given in not 10% increments, whereas this one is. So if you want to know the exact number, you can just ask Google. That's very interesting. I did not know. But what's more things that Google can do? Tell me a joke.
What do you call a cold canine? A chili dog.
Oh my god. So corny, but it works. It's Google, so it does everything that Google does, which is pretty fantastic. You have these cool lights in the door handle to illuminate your way to your Polestar. Just look at how freaking awesome the headlights are in this car. Oh my god, they are great. This is low beam. Oh, high beam. Well, high beam isn't as high as I would like it to be, but it's still fantastic headlights. If I turn on the fog lamps, it gets even brighter. It's got great headlights. don't know what to say. I really like this car. I don't know. It's like perfect for me. It's a perfect size. It's the perfect amount of speeds, perfect range. I love the software. I love it, the design. I love the feeling of it. They like nailed it on the dot for what I want pretty much. Yes, the Rivian R1T is cool, but considering how expensive that is and how understated and how efficient versus that this is, and the price point is more achievable, I think the Polestar 2 is basically perfect for me as a daily driver car. I will be making other videos on the Polestar 2, like renting it from Hertz and some 0 to 60 testing. But yeah, that's going to be the end of the video, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed. Leave a like and subscribe. See you all next time. Bye!